who is the HOD of the Department of Foreign Languages, University of Benin, Benin City, Edo State. We're going to be talking about the Anambra State election and the sit-at-home threat. Now, we are expecting Mr. Ken Irunse, and when he comes, also, he'll be part of the panelists this morning. Also, too, we may also have Comrade Jude Imagwe, the former SA Special Advisor to the Presidency on Youth Matters. He is going to be joining us via Zoom. When we get connection here, we just let him be on the show. Madam, you're welcome to this program this morning on ITV. Now, with just about barely 3 days to the Anambra State election, to precise on the 6th, that's on Saturday, issues and the counter issues are coming up. Now, we understand that there are two sides of the story now. IPOP has given their order that nobody comes out to be part of the election. While MASSOP, on the other hand, is saying that nothing happens. Everybody go out and cast your vote, so long as you have, the voting card to do your election to vote now. So how would you want to react to what you think is happening in Anambra State right now?
Thank you, Mr. Evans, and good morning, viewers at home. Concerning the case going on in Anambra State and even in all other eastern states of Nigeria, I'm personally worried about the whole thing. If we are to look at it very well, the indigenous people of Biafra put up this sit at home, you know, for 1 day a week. Now, the first question we should all ask ourselves is, are the people complying with that 1 day sit at home? Yes, they are. And not because, it may not necessarily be because they are willing to stay at home, but because they are afraid. If you look at the way IPOP is going now, they kill people who disobey their orders. So because of the fear of, the threat of being killed and everything, people tend to sit at home. They tend to obey the sit-at-home order. And despite the fact that they've been complaining that it has been affecting their businesses, it has been affecting, the socioeconomic activities in Anambra State, people have been obeying that sit-at-home order. Now, concerning this 5 days sit-at-home coming up on Friday, whether the people will comply or not, well, until time will tell, until we get there. But to react to it, I feel that some things are not right. And I will say that when I was listening to the spokesman of IPOP concerning the sit-at-home, and when they were asking him, he said it was not because of the elections. The election. That it just coincided with the elections. It's been on. That what they were asking for is the release of their leader, the Nnamdi Kanu. And said that they were trying to, they put all that 5 days sit-at-home because they want to forestall the court judgment that will be coming up on the 15th November. Now, if you look at it very well, I also think that the judiciary had not also been, let me not use the word why, they're not being careful enough. Because these elections, INEC had set up the date for this election since January. And they know that Anambra State is a very, very, vulnerable and volatile place, for this kind of violence. Why would they allow the court judgment to coincide with the time of Anambra election? I feel that there's already so much heat in the system. Now, why not fall into that same period? So the whole thing, I think that they also did not play their cards well. I mean, the judiciary. Okay, now the thing has now clashed with the elections, and IPOP is now saying that unless their leader is released, elections will not hold. You know what I always say? When two elephants fight, it is the grass that suffer. Now, the thing is this. Will INEC force people out to vote? No. Will people of Anambra come out to vote? Maybe they will not come out. And you see, when they don't come out, two things are involved. INEC is saying that they must carry out elections. Government has released over 40,000 security agents, including army that has launched Operation Golden Dawn. All those things, I see it as eventually INEC will declare a result.
They will declare results.
The result must be declared.
But why don't we say there's going to be an election first?
Look, let me tell you, we are in Nigeria. These things happen. When people stay at home and they don't go for elections, results are still declared. It is assumed that people came out to vote. Now, whether it is some of the security agents that will now vote, we don't know. Whether people will now come out, disguised to be ANAMBRA people, all we know is that INEC will declare results. Now, so what I'm trying to say is that it is 50-50. IPOB should be proactive, and in fact, I don't even want to mention IPOB. The people of Anambra, because it is their destiny, they should be able to decide whether they are coming out to vote or not. Because if they don't come out to vote the person of their choice, somebody eventually may be imposed on them. Okay. That's why I said it's 50-50. It's neither this way nor that way. And let me tell you, I have my fear concerning this whole thing, that at the end of the day, the Igbo people may be losing out outrightly. If you sit at home, you don't come out, a leader will be imposed on you that may be carrying out the biddings of those that you don't want. Then if you come out also, you may be killed by your people who have already told you not to come out. So I think that between now and Friday, Ohanes Indigbo and all other elders, people should come together to take a decision on what should happen concerning the elections. If not, at the end, it is the people of Anambra that will suffer. Okay, now one sure way that perhaps the issues can be begin to be handled in Anambra State is that some analysts are suggesting that the election should be shifted, but that cannot be now because that's going to run ultra via the Constitution. Come on Saturday, the election is going to be held. I mean, INEC has since told us that come on Saturday, there will be a gubernatorial election in Anambra State. But one thing that stands clear now is what some persons begin to look at, that perhaps the federal authority may just have hands in what is going on in Anambra State. Because voter apathy, there's no doubt, is one big issue in Anambra State now, just like what you said a while ago, that some persons are beginning to think twice, that perhaps they won't come out and vote. But how do you think we can begin to enlighten the electorate right now that, look, go out and exercise your franchise. It is your basic right, it is your basic responsibility as a citizen of the state. You see, telling me that the elections cannot be postponed, I don't think it's realistic or is right. But because that may not... Let me remind you, in 2019, the general elections were postponed by a week or two. In 2019. Do you think that will make any significance? No, nothing is, look, nothing is sacrosanct. What we are trying to say is that for the security of the people, look, it's constitutional. Security of the people, the welfare of the people comes first. Now, for the security of the masses, when you have checked the situation of things, you could postpone the election and even install a kind of interim government if need be. Now, in this case, Dr. Stella, how long do you think we can... problem in Anambra, and now you are forcing the people to come out to vote. People that even one day stay at home, to their detriment, to their hunger and everything, they comply because of what is going on among their own people, the indigenous people of Biafra. Now you are telling them that they should come out. A lot of them may not come out. All right, so in this case now, for how long do you think the election can be shifted? No, the thing is this. Would that create any significant, effects as it relates to the tension that seems to be building? You don't use force at all times. There's supposed to be need for dialogue. Listen to these people. People have been agitating, not once, not twice, and everything. Listen to them, and let's see how you go about it. Let me tell you what is going to happen on Friday, on Saturday. It is not IPOB that may be killed. It is not the government officials that may be killed. It is these same people, electorates, that will come out to say, okay, let us come and exercise our franchise. They are the ones that will get hurt. They are the ones that may get killed.
But let us, no, I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you on that, because the federal authorities have told us that security men are going to be on the ground. As a matter of fact, about 35,000 policemen will handle the situation. So let us not preempt the public so that we don't further add to the tension.
From what you just said now, have you been following the trend of things since on Sunday? Have they not been killing security agents who were well armed? Now, if they could kill security agents with their licensed guns, with their licensed arms and everything, what will happen to people who just come out with their rappers, who just come out, you know, armless like that? So what I'm trying to say is that don't jeopardize the lives of the people. I appreciate the fact that government has released, you know, security agents from all sorts of, you know, in the country to go and protect the people of Anambra, to come out to, but I think it is more than that. I think that the use of force may backfire if care is not taken. That's why I say they should tread carefully. They should, and INEC, let me tell you, also putting the lives of INEC officials at stake in this case. Because what I foresee here is that when they are not able to get at the security agents, they may target the INEC just to maybe cause a kind of scare. And, you know, it still comes back to the fact that it is the innocent that will actually be affected at the end. I'm thinking something, you know. I don't know whether it is allowed, I can voice it out on air, but this is what I'm thinking of. There's something strange about this IPOB, the IPOB movement right now, that is, you know, taking some of us aback. There are two things I'm saying. During the NSAS or the other time, everything seemed to be going on well until hoodlums came and hijacked the whole thing and everything scattered. Everything seemed to be going on well for IPOB until suddenly they started killing themselves. Are you sure that IPOB has not been infiltrated? Because now, you know, you are taking a form of the form of Taliban style.
Now, I think the question,
they killed their own people.
Yeah, but I think the question we should begin to ask is to throw the question at the Indigbo people.
Yes.
Because as it stands now, as it relates to this election, most especially, IPOB is saying that, hey, there is a seat at home, no election. They've not said no election. Let's be careful with that. But they are saying that there's going to be a seat at home. And Masop is saying that nobody sits at home. Everybody comes out to vote on Saturday. So the big question is, the Indigbo, do they have a cause? That's the question, because the ordinary voter in Anambra seems to be at sea. He or she doesn't know what to do right now.
Yes. So that's why I said it calls for dialogue. It calls for an appeal. It calls for the organizer to come out, you know, and sit down with these people to know exactly the best way out of this problem. Like I said, if government wants the election to take place on Saturday, elections will take place and results will be announced.
The government has told us through its agency, through INEC.
What will be announced is what we don't know. It's what the general public, and we have seen several times, even when a free and fair election was manipulated. Now, it is actually the duty of the people to go out there, vote, protect their votes, and defend their votes.
Now, let us also look at the possibility.
Even the one that we manage to come out for fear may not want to stay to defend the
Now, let's look at the possible outcome of the election. The election has not been held. But do you think that somehow, if the results of the election comes out as against the wish of the people, the candidates that they have in mind, don't you think that may increase the tension in Anambra State? Because from the look of things, with
respect to the sitting governor right now, Hope Uzodinma, a lot of people, a lot of the citizens of Anambra never really wanted him. But he's there. What can they do? You know, sometimes when you are fighting against powers that seem to be bigger than you, you are helpless. And that is it. And that's what we are still saying. If you don't come out, this same set of people will be imposed on them. Anambra people, I'm sure, on their own would have loved a particular candidate to emerge as their governor. But the question is, how would they go about it? You know, yesterday I saw the opposition party going for, you know, several rallies and campaigns in Anambra yesterday, and I shook my head because you could see fear even written in them as they were doing the campaign, even written, you know, in the eyes of the people that were around. Everybody was just looking left, right, and center. Nobody was sure of the security even at that moment. You can imagine the kind of fear they have created in the people. There's another dimension to this. Let me tell you. Ideally, when they, you know, a candidate needs at least 25% for, in fact, actually for elections to be declared valid, they actually need at least 25% for
total results cast,
total registered.
Okay.
You know, for it to be valid. Now, if they don't get 25% of electorate coming out to vote, ideally it will be declared invalid. But the point is this: Anambra people and Indigbo, the problem is this: who determines this 25%? We have seen several cases in Nigeria where, you know, they said 20,000 people registered and 50,000 people voted. We have seen it. We have seen several cases where a population of a place is not more than 18 million, and when election results are declared, we heard that there are 23 million declared. You know, so who determines the 25%? Who determines the validity of the vote cast? It is still the same government. So I see a kind of power play here. Power play that IPOB does not want to back down, so that it not look as if they have lost. And then government has already made plans on how to go about in a Anambra election. If I were there, if I were the Igbo people, we will sit down and say, look, it is not a battle to fight using the same method. Let us leave this seat at home. Let all of us come out and vote and defend our votes. Yeah. I think that is what they should be thinking of right now. Instead of telling people to sit down at home. In fact, this is the time IPOB should go out and pursue people, drive people out of their various houses and ensure that they voted for, or they vote for their own candidate. Okay, now let's look at some of the build-ups to the election. Perhaps you may want to say that this is probably the only election once in a lifetime in the political history of the country where you have campaigns being held outside the states. For a few months now, we've seen some political parties and their candidates holding political rallies in Lagos State. Now, they're talking about Anambra election, but political rallies being held in Lagos State and all that. Now, for some analysts, they see that perhaps the political parties and their candidates are really not serious about the election. I mean, you don't do rallies and campaigns outside states where elections are to be conducted. Dr. Mrs. Stella Omoniwo. You see, that's the problem. They are also trying to protect themselves. Don't forget that, you know, in recent past, when a particular party went for political rally, they were attacked in Anambra. And there will have been more attacks. And we have also seen and we have heard, we have seen it on news, where most of these major players in these political parties, their properties were destroyed and everything. So, you know, the weather was not clear for them. It was like their lives were at stake. So having said that, these leaders are also trying to protect themselves. That's why they decided to organize political rallies outside the state. You know, that shows the hypocrisy of our leadership, of our politics. Because a political rally is meant to be for a particular people place, and a particular. So when it's not working, why are you going out? Are they going to watch you via television and everything? Those are the things we should think about. So what I'm saying is, instead of them to solve the problem that led into they are not being able to hold a political rally in a particular place, they are going. That's to tell you that they don't have the interest of the people at heart. Rather, they have. It is a clear indication that politics in Nigeria is about self and it's about selfishness. It is about what I can have and what I can be, not about the people. Because if actually they had the people in mind, I don't see why they cannot make every effort to solve the problem that has made them not to be able to hold the political rally in Anambra and then decided to go and hold it outside the state and spending more money and reaching lesser people, fewer people. So having said that, I also think that, look, for IPOB or for Indigbo or for the Biafra or whatever
You know, the Igbo people, now this is how I see it. You want to be liberated. You want to liberate your people. If actually these people are fighting the genuine cause to liberate the Igbo people, I see this sit at home as a way of tying them down the more. I see this force of telling them not to go and vote, not to come out and cast their votes, and waiting for somebody to be imposed on them as another way of engaging and enslaving the people.
Yeah.
So I think that what they should do is that it is not every time you have to use you are using a particular method to fight a battle, it is not working. Why don't you change your method? I think that what they be talking about is that, okay, it does not mean it is not winner, no vanquish. That does not mean that they are weak. That does not mean that Igbo people have failed. The most important thing, according to the constitution, our constitution, the constitution of Nigeria, is that electorate should come out. Those who are eligible to vote should come out and vote for the candidate of their choice. And nobody should intimidate them, either their own people or by the government agencies. Nobody should intimidate any electorate, you know, from choosing her own or his own leader. And government is supposed to provide adequate security, whether government is for the Igbo people or government. The security agents are supposed to be neutral. Now, because what we have been seeing on videos is they even harass even market women and passers-by and everything. When this whole thing started, I went for a meeting at Oka, and when we were coming back, approaching the Onitsha Head Bridge, you know, they made every one of us to come down from the vehicle and raise our hands as if we were armed robbers, and they made us to walk for about 2 kilometers, which I think was unconstitutional. They are not declared war in all these areas, and then you are harassing and molesting the innocent. Do you think that those people who are really armed, those people who want to carry out mayhem, do you think they will come out and just be walking on the road like that? No. So it is the innocent people that are also being punished by these security agents. So my point is that even all these security agents that have been sent to Anambra, they should be there to protect the people and not to frustrate or harass the people the more, which they do. Once they have gone, you start seeing them talking to both male and female, old and young, anyhow. Okay.
Now, some persons will say that the federal government is perhaps the sponsor of the insecurity situation in Anambra State, and that is left for a lot of people to explain. I don't know how you feel about this.
Those are speculations.
Okay.
Now, anybody can sponsor anybody to come and disrupt your area. Anybody can sponsor anybody to come and cause problems in your area. It is left for you now to organize yourself, identify actually the government agents there who are coming to cause problem in your area, and know what to do about it. But what you are seeing here is that people are not sitting down first of all to strategize. You want to answer fire by fire, and at the end you are not so sure. You don't know the person government has sent, you know, to cause trouble in your area.
Yeah, but for the federal government to deploy about 35,000 policemen alone, 35,000, that gives a warlike situation.
That's it. And you see, that brings me back to this hypocrisy in politics. I don't want to use the word hypocrisy in governance, but let me tell you, we have been having security challenges in the country. We have been having security challenges in some various parts of the country, that even now, you know, institutions of higher learning are now being, you know, targets. They are now targets. They are now seen as targets to these bandits and to these terrorists. I've never heard that government deployed such a number of security agents to a particular place, you know, having such security challenges.
Yeah.
But these people who are clamoring, you know, for restructuring, these people who are clamoring and crying, you know, for liberation, you are sending that amount of security agents to them. Now the question is this: are those people going there to secure the people, or are they going there to fight the people? Those are the questions, you know, the Igbo people should ask and use their tongues to count their teeth. Those are the questions also Nigerians should ask, that if you are not in a war zone, why will you deploy so much to a particular place where we have not recorded kidnappings and banditry and, you know, mayhem like that? But you have decided to send these people there. Against the backdrop of what we have, you know, in the core north and even on our ways, on our roads that are, on our highways that now are no longer motorable to passengers. Those are the things we should be thinking. That's what I'm saying. When you are a leader, don't be a leader to a particular set of people. You favor some and then you treat some as criminals.
Okay.
Let me tell you, there are several liberation groups that came up in Nigeria. There are several groups, agitating groups that came up in Nigeria. Some were proscribed to be terrorists, while some who are actually terrorizing Nigerians were not proscribed. Rather, they are saying that they are just criminals. How can you tell me that bandits are criminals and IPOB members are terrorists? You see, the balance is not there. We see these people who are kidnapping by the day. We did not send 40,000 soldiers to go and kill them. Then you see people who are agitating for their own liberation in their own land, and then you send 40,000 soldiers. That's why I say Nigeria is not balanced.
Yeah, but when we say liberation, I think we have to be careful. I mean, for people to call for secessionists, secession, so to say, that is unconstitutional. So we need to also explain the liberation that we're talking about now. The liberation.
You see, if you notice very well, I didn't use the word secession. And if you notice very well, I used the word restructuring, because actually that was what brought about restructuring.
Yeah, but some will say that they are calling for self-rule, that they want their own government, they want their own self-rule.
And House of Reps members saw the way the things were going, they actually said, okay, there will be need for dialogue, for national dialogue, which, you know, they organized. And up till now, the report of the national dialogue has not been taken and nothing has been done about it. Let me tell you, this is how it is. It is a kind of marriage. Now, when a marriage is not working, I say that there should be room for dialogue. People should listen. People should learn to listen to one another to fine-tune a relationship. When the relationship is getting stale, you don't have to continue forcing that relationship to stay. But you need to fine-tune it. There's a way you fine-tune it that this relationship will even last longer and both parties will be happy. And I think that that is what Nigerian government should be thinking of doing with IPOB. If you are able to negotiate with bandits through their leader, Sheikh Gumi, I don't see any reason why you cannot listen to the people and say, okay, we have heard your grievances, we will look into it. Now, let me tell you, when a leader says, I have heard your grievances, we'll look into it, it calms the people down. It gives them a sense of belonging. Whether that leader is going to do it or not, that's a different thing entirely. But at least give them that word of assurance. Let this killing stop. Let this agitation stop. But say no. You don't want to tell. You don't want to even want to listen to them. You don't want to do anything about them. All you need to do is to spend so much money, go after their leader, arrest the leader, bring the leader here, and while the state is burning. I think there are several ways we should approach things. You can still get that same objective you are getting, but there are several approaches in getting it. And I think that that's what the government should be thinking about in not only Anambra, but in all other Igbo states, in all other eastern states of the country, because things are getting from worse to worse every day, from bad to worse. And let me tell you, the people who are being killed, I'm telling you, may not be IPOB members.
Innocent citizens.
Are you telling me that all young men, all young Igbo men are IPOB members? Most of them are very enterprising. Now, when you see somebody coming back from a bar market, you just arrest the person, show the person, and just tag the person an IPOB member. That is what is going on in the eastern states of Nigeria. Beautiful. And I don't think it's right. Okay.
Now, the feelers we are getting from Imo State now suggests or says rather that non-sensitive materials have been moved from INEC office, so that's their headquarters, to various polling centers across the states. And we understand that a total number of about 18 political parties are going to be featuring 18 candidates for various political parties, among whom we have the former CBN governor, Professor Charles Soludo, who is representing APGA, and also some other candidates there. So INEC is insisting that come on Saturday, the election in Anambra State, the gubernatorial election in Anambra State must be held against the backdrop that there are two sides of the coin now. IPOP is saying that they are not saying that there shouldn't be election, but there's a sit-at-home order and which must be respected. Why? MASOP, that's the Movement for Actualization of the Sovereign State of Biafra, MASOP, has assured residents of Anambra State that governorship election is going to be held. In other words, that people will come out and vote on Saturday. So we're going to make sure that we follow the stories as we get along on the issues in Anambra State, so that we bring you updates as the election holds. It's going to be on Saturday. We're told that by 8 a.m. In the morning on Saturday, voters are expected to file out in various voting units so that they exercise their franchise. Dr. Mrs. Stella Omenego, thank you so much. It's always a wonderful time to have you on our segments on the program this morning on ITV. Well, we'll take a short pause now for that segment to come your way. Please stay tuned.